Hi, I'm Lexi with HyprMX here at Pocket Gamers Connect London 2024. And joining me is Jakub, who is a consultant in the industry as well as the host of a podcast. So great to have you. Thank you for joining us. And I'd love for you to first just go off and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more about your podcast and your experience within the gaming industry.
Sure. So name's Jakub Remiar. I got into the industry, actually I was drafted from university straight to do a VR game before. And then I somehow transitioned to mobile free-to-play, as we had a big company back there in Slovakia, like the Slovak Rovio version, Pixel Federation, and from there on like go through other companies, a publisher, and now I ended up being an independent consultant. 9 years in the industry, and we run our funny podcast with my friends Felix and Matej, where we try to share our knowledge. It's pretty much like from the work we do in the trenches every day. There's a good trio of UA, ads, and game design product-wise kind of section, so it kind of complements each other nicely. Yes. That's there. It's been a lot of fun.
Great. So as a consultant...
It's called, 2.5 Gamers.
2.5 Gamers,
Never
yes.
mentioned it yet.
Right. So as a consultant, can you kind of walk us through what a day might look like for you? I'm sure it's very different day to day, but maybe just tell us a little bit about some of the clients that you work with and some of the projects you...
For sure. It's usually literally based on what you want to kind of juggle around, what you can juggle around. Sometimes it's literally nothing, and like you have your day and you need to take care of your kid. Sometimes it's like a whole day. The time flexibility is really good. Like that's one of the big advantages. I work from home. Like I pretty much, when Corona started, I started working from home even for a company before, and now like I've never stopped. It works very well for me.
Yeah.
And you juggle around your schedule. That's the advantage and disadvantage of being the master of yourself. You need to kind of pre-plan it, and like planning takes a lot of time. Like literally like 20% of all your time just planning. Then doing some podcast stuff takes a lot of time. So usually it's not really like just day before, it's like sometimes a week. For instance, when we're doing game reviews, I literally need to play the game for like a week, every day, some hours. And then, clients preparation stuff, so you work on your output. In my case, most of the time I work on economies, documents, presentations, or like features that I'm helping my client with. And then there's the call, which I, again, juggle around, some evenings, some usually like in the afternoons, like not really morning ones aren't good ones. And then you deliver the stuff. So let's say I build an economy, or let's say increase an expanded part of the economy for a client. I walk them through the Excel sheet, explain how to use it. If there are any other questions, we discuss what to do next, and then that's that. Usually like our call, and you have a lot of these kind of 1 hour slots slot into a week. So that would be it. And then you try to juggle everything around it.
It sounds like you have a really busy schedule there, but it seems like it's nice to have a little bit of flexibility, like you mentioned. So I understand that you have an extensive history in game design. What are some new things that you're seeing in the market that you think are making games successful right now? And are there any studios or titles in particular that you think are doing it well right now?
Yeah. Definitely, there's been, gaming industry is always every year something new. That's the beauty of it. I'm really liking this kind of fast pace. Being on a podcast is actually great because you literally, you need to force yourself to play all those top games. So you are keeping on the edge. Not really everyone. If you're like a developer in a company or game designer working on the game for like I don't know how many years, you probably know your genre great, but you don't know all the games. And we literally need to know, unfortunately, all the games. So that's great. Hybrid casual is the theme these days, for sure. Hyper casual is massively switching to hybrid casual. It means all those studios are going more into product know-how, meta game systems. There's lots of interesting iteration because those are people that started in the industry from hyper casual. So they literally have like zero of that like mid-core core product know-how that like guys like let's say me are building like many years there, and they have very innovative approaches. Sometimes they literally come up with something you'd never even thought of. Like I would say currently studios like let's say Voodoo very successfully is switching there. Say Games is very successfully switching there. We've seen games like Alien Invasion, making it literally the model hybrid game, which is like 50% IAP and ad-driven revenue. So that's there. So that's like one of, I would say, the strongest one. The other one is of course the web shop battle. That's the other big trend, which I also think like the creativity of how these things will be applied and then translated successfully, hopefully for developers, benefit into action.
Right. So do you have any predictions for this year in terms of monetization and mobile gaming?
So it will get harder, even like last year before. So strap up.
Positive.
Hybrid will be even more prevalent these days. So people will catch up to all these innovations, and they will see and finally understand some of those things. So I expect definitely more of those like million a month hybrids popping up. It's not about like one big hybrid. It's about having multiples of those. So imagine you have like 10 of those games, all making 1 million a month. That's the key there. Frequency and like the velocity is the key. Then the other thing is that marketing and ads and all these like hurdles on our way to revenue will be even worse, and like the star will get bigger, but it will also kind of clear the market, I would say, a little bit. Unfortunately, studios will either merge or unfortunately die. I mean, like people will move on or stuff like that. That's part of the process, but the good thing will stay, and we're seeing it already, especially even the PC part of the market, where like there's a new sensation, I think, every week on PC these days. And I see it all over the place. Little Company, Pal World, all of these games out of like Manor Lords, which is like, I don't even know about the game. 2 million wish lists immediately, single developer. So I think I even have a lot of friends switching from mobile to PC focus, but I think we're getting more and more close to cross-platform, where people will understand that like it's an extension, don't really differentiate between, you need all the users you can get.
Yeah, gotcha. And then I know you mentioned being part of 2.5 Gamers podcast. What are some things that we can expect from the podcast in 2024?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be pretty packed.
Yeah.
It's already packed. We're going to do more, hopefully, live reviews with developers on the podcast with us. So
cool.
While we, tearing your game apart, you can be there and see it firsthand. So those are very, like our listeners really enjoyed those. So that's great. And it's also great that like the developers can call our like what we say, and they call it assumptions. Like sometimes we're wrong, and we're great that we're wrong because somebody can clear that out. So it's like very good. Then we're definitely going to go organize more events around the conferences we are in. We're definitely trying to go. Last year we were in South Korea. This year we're definitely trying to go to China Joy. And as I said, more live events and having like even bigger cadence that we can do, trying some new things. We probably also want to look a little bit more into apps, because apps are growing like crazy. And they're just using like fraction of things we do in the game industry. So those things are interesting, and definitely more kind of enjoyable stuff with the community. So our Slack scoring, feel free to join that one, and you can pretty much get the hang of us there.
Great. Well, that all sounds very exciting. Looking forward to seeing what the podcast is like this year then. And, if you haven't heard of the podcast before, check it out. Thank you so much, Jakub, for joining us. It was so great to chat with you today.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.